वेलकम टू मेन स्ट्रीम विद हरप्रीत सिंह तूर। आप सबनों प्यार भरी सत श्री अकाल, नमस्कार, आदाब एंड शलोम। Please share whatever your thoughts are with me on hstoor@gmail.com. It's important that we have to have the dialogue going on. We are actually not just here in America or just in India. If we really start looking at overall what the world is going through right now, it's about that turbulent time which we are going through. And if we look at the history previously, when the things like this happened, there were issues, and this is how the world wars also started to some extent. But at the same time, the difference is at that time there was only printed media and later on radio. Right now we have social media, even though social media is destroying the fabric of society one way or the other. But still we have it, and I'm going to talk about it, how the social media is used and abused instead of using it for the betterment. It's everybody is like, they are anchors, they are producers, they are directors, and the freedom of speech is being abused in the name of free speech. I'm not propagating that speech should be regulated, but at the same time, what I am saying is that when you get a message on the social media, you should not be just forwarding it that okay, and all of a sudden the person gets about 30,000 streams or 35,000 views and this and that. No, that should not be there. But let me talk certain things before I further go into what I am trying to say here. I always used to talk, and I am definite I will still talk about it, not just today but in the future also. Give you a few examples which make very much sense, especially in today's time. And I'm talking about immediately after 9/11 happened. A lot of Sikhs were attacked, the ones with the beard and turbans. And I personally know the guy. He actually left US and went back to India on permanent basis. I don't know if he ever came back or not, but I at that time did advise him not to go. My brother personally, who was living in India at that time, when he read the news, he saw the news item, he saw the stories and this and that, he told me, hey, Paji, just leave everything there and come to India. And I told him one thing. I said, listen, 1984 happened. Okay, here in US at least I can defend myself, either judicially or otherwise. If I have to defend my family by buying an arm, I can do that, which I will not be able to do in India, which still is true in India. People are picked up and they are killed in cold blood, and those police officers who claim those as either terrorist or extremist or whatever the name you want to give to those people who get killed because they are asking for their rights. The cops, they dance on their dead bodies, they smile on their dead bodies, they post it, and there is no justification, no questions asked, nothing at all. And for example, 1995 cholera, just disappeared, and still justice is elusive. 1984 riots, still justice is elusive. Right now in the areas of Andhra Pradesh, Orissa, those jungles, in the name of Naxalites, the people are being picked up and being killed in India. Coming to United States, over here right now the grounds are being prepared in a way where same things could happen again. The people who grew up in the United States, who read the history of the United States, they read about the slavery and everything, and they know what it is and what it means. Even though I personally am not in favor of I think it is called reparation, where some of the African Americans, they are asking that they should be paid billions of dollars for their ancestors being enslaved and this and that. I personally am not for that, but at the same time what I am for is those generations which are coming up, they should be provided top-notch education. Because if you give them the money, today you have the money, tomorrow you will not. It's like, when you hit a lotto, all of a sudden you are a millionaire, and then within the next 2 years, 3 years, depending on who it is, you are again back to where you were. So, having said that, going back to where I was going to talk about is, after 9/11, even though the Sikhs were being attacked, but still they provided free of cost yellow cab and black car services to the people who were looking for their loved ones who were missing after the collapse of World Trade Center. There was a pressure on, at that time it was the mayor Rudy Giuliani, and then within a very short span, 9/11 happened, the election took place in November, which in itself is another example of how democratic process should not be compromised. Even though Rudy Giuliani wanted another term, but he was told in no uncertain terms that you will not get any extra term. So the election did take place in November, okay, which is 2 months, maybe less than 2 months, okay. At the same time, there was a move going on where they wanted to not allow a Cordoba house, which is a Muslim entity, wanted to have a community center as well as a small mosque just 2 blocks away from World Trade Center. Mayor Bloomberg came in and he became the mayor. And he made clear in no uncertain terms that just because they are Muslims and the act of 9/11 was, done by the Muslims, it should not mean that we should be targeting the whole Muslim community as extremists and penalizing them. I'm pretty sure you can see where I'm trying to associate it in the current circumstances which are happening in India, and over here also it could happen because nobody knows what's going on, what's in the mind for Donald Trump. Anyway, so that place is open and it is working. Okay, it is operational, in other words. Now let me give you another example which I always used about Columbia University. Okay. At Columbia University, Iran's president of that time, Mohammad Ahmadinejad, was invited to speak to the students. And at that time, excuse me, at that time, mayor was Rudy Giuliani. Rudy Giuliani wrote to Columbia University to disinvite the president of Iran because of his beliefs and their ideology. And if you go to Iran, on the maps which are shown in Iran, they don't show Israel in their maps. For them, Israel should not be existing there and it should not be there. So Still, Columbia University told the mayor, thank you, but no thank you. Let us take a break. After the break, I will tell you how the whole thing actually ended up being done right after the break. Welcome back to Mainstream with Harpreet Singh Toor. So, Columbia University told the mayor, we don't advise you how to run the city, and when we will need your advice how to run the university, we'll ask you. Just imagine that Columbia University is located within New York City, and New York City is such a powerful city with the billions of dollars in budget, but still they took a stand. Okay, that was then. Now, as soon as Trump came in and he started pushing his DEI agenda, diversity, inclusive and equality, DEI, that's what it stands for. So, Columbia University ended up being one of the first one to get on their knees and kiss the ring. That really disappointed me so much, because I never expected that Columbia University will do like that so quickly, and that too for $400 million. Yeah, it's not a small amount, but for a university of stature of Columbia University, it should not be. They should have tinkered around and reached out to the donors, and I'm pretty sure that after this administration is over, there are going to be those donors who right now are afraid to give money to the universities, where Trump is saying that these universities are not schools of education and they are like leftist, socialist, blah, blah, blah. Again, I always say Trump is a liar and he lies all the time. Anyway, after this phase is over, after he's gone, those donors are again going to give the money to the universities, donate the way they used to. And I'm pretty sure they will give a second look to Columbia University, how much money to give to Columbia University. And if they are going to donate it to Columbia University, then with what kind of conditions are attached to it, in a way that free speech should not be censored at all. Now, let's look at the Harvard University. Harvard University refused to get on their knees. They challenged President Trump. President Trump went beyond that. He was like, foreign students should be immediately transferred out. The DOJ, Department of Justice, which he always claimed that Department of Justice is used to penalize him, he is using with Pam Bondi, same Justice Department, to penalize the people who were honest, sincere, even though those were Republicans. So for him, those are Reno, Republican in name only. That is him. Okay. So DOJ actually is punishing and pushing every button which they can. So Harvard University challenged that. Then he said that the students' roster should be shared with the government. They refused. He ordered, well, university got a stay order for that. Now what he's doing, he is saying that the admissions of the foreign students to these esteemed universities should be controlled. And what he's doing to do that, he, as of today, it happened within the last 24 hours, all the US embassies have been ordered to stop issuing student visas, and he ordered them to thoroughly check the social media posts of those students who want to come in here. Okay. So, what is happening here is your thoughts are being controlled. You are being told what to say, what not to say. Remember, I said at the very beginning the free speech is abused, but I also said at the same time it does not mean that it should be penalized. And I'm still there. Yes, there are people who abuse it, including Donald Trump, who has been abusing his free speech since I know him. Here is a president who actually took a full page advertisement to hang Central Park 5 for raping a white woman. They were behind the bars. It took years for them to clear up their name, till that women admitted that no, it was wrong and they were not the ones. And one of them right now is sitting in as a council member within New York City Council. So here is a Trump who was asking for them being hanged using his free speech. And now one of them has sued Trump. I don't know where it will go. He tried to get the case thrown out. Thanks to the court, they haven't. Why? Because these are the checks and balances. And right now, the other check and balances about the House of Representatives, I will talk about that also, which is not happening. But I want to talk about Harvard here right now, the difference. So, Harvard University is fighting everything. The language he used is that, okay, how I wish Harvard taught students to talk about Israel. Okay, that's one thing. Yes, what happened in October of 2023, it was horrible. But what Israel now doing is, or what it was doing before that, was not less horrible. Some of the press reporters were targeted and killed, and one of the journalists who was very frank, she was intentionally killed, and then the soldiers from Israeli military, they used her picture as a target practice. Those are the weaknesses of the humans which come to the fore, and the leadership is actually how to make sure that those weaknesses are not abused. But here those weaknesses are being encouraged by pardoning January 6 people who attacked Capitol, and things like that. So here he goes. He is like, Harvard is a national disgrace, woke madrasa, Maoist indoctrination camp, ship of fools, bastion of rampant anti-Jewish hatred and harassment, cesspool of extremist riots, Islamist outpost. So these are the languages which he is using. Why? Because at Harvard, they let you speak and write what they want. There is a professor on faculty in Harvard who literally writes against the management style of Harvard University, and he has been doing it for the last couple of years. He is still a professor there. They let him do it, they let him say it. The management do listen to it, read to it, but the actions taken are based on what should be done, not based on that, okay, he said this thing, pick him up, put him to the side, fire him, put him behind the bars, or send him to Venezuela like Trump is doing. So, and yeah, that also reminds me another very interesting issue that in Brooklyn Museum there was a an exhibition. In that exhibition, there were two very sensitive pictures in that exhibition. Okay, one picture was in the glass full of more than half full of urine. A cross was put in that glass. Very, very insensitive, no doubt about it. A picture of Virgin Mary, covered partially with cow dung. And when the people reached to Rudy Giuliani to ban that exhibition, he told them, don't go and visit. They will lose money and they will not do it again, and that's what they did. Again, protecting free speech irrespective of what the views are. Let's take a break. After the break, I will be right back. Welcome back to Mainstream with Harpreet Singh Toor once again. So, that exhibition financially failed and nothing like that happened again. Just imagine if anything like that could happen in India. We don't tolerate even 0.0001% of that. If somebody just throws, the head of a pig at the mosque or a head of a cow at the temple, immediately we have the riots without waiting for who did it, why did it. And, so these are the things which actually the rulers need to look at, how to guide the people. But when you are telling the people to drink, cow's urine and put on the dung on your body, it will help you, blah, blah, blah. There may be some benefits, I don't know. I haven't read about it and I have no idea about it. But what I'm trying to say here is those speeches are important. Those thoughts are important. Now, let me give you examples of how these things affect everything, especially in today's time. This, what happened recently between India and Pakistan, okay? After those people, they killed those 26 Hindus. Let me give you my thought on that. That was a horrible act of insanity. Okay? But at the same time, we need to sit back and look at it. What we did after that. The media went crazy in India, and I'm pretty sure same thing in Pakistan also. I heard a little bit about it, that such and such things has been destroyed in India, not that much as I read over here about, in the Indian media, that they have destroyed the Karachi port, they have taken over the Lahore, 20% of the operational air force has been decapitated, this and that, blah, blah, blah. But at the same time, when the question was asked about how many planes India lost to the Air Force when they were addressing the media, the answer was everybody is safe. Which means what? Basically, which means they did lost the planes. How many? About 4, maybe 5, but definitely 3. And nobody is talking about it. They needed to assess it. Why, whatever the loss was. Because this war basically was not just about that terrorist act. Okay? The TV stations and the social media pushed the Indian Prime Minister Modi, to show his 56-inch chest, which he claimed. And he tried to do it, and now he is sending out the people to cover that. And I will tell you why. This is something which actually he should have done without attacking. Now, if you really look back, I think during Prime Minister Vajpayee's time, there were a couple of thousand people being killed in Jammu and Kashmir. Okay. Then Manmohan Singh came in. At that time also the number started coming down, but during Manmohan Singh's time, during his second term, the number went really down, about 115, 120 a year. He did not react. He did what needed to be done. But here, now what happened is, the weaknesses of Indian defense has been exposed to the whole world right now. You know, like in Punjabi they say, even in Hindi they say, if you have your fist closed, nobody knows what's in there. Once you open up, it's in the front. There was a sense that Indian defenses are really great and they have all these, advances and everything. And this war actually exposed the weaknesses and also the strengths of Chinese technology. China used its technology via Pakistan to show what China is and where it stands militarily, not just to India, but to the rest of the world, including United States. Because China waited for Hong Kong to make it a part of its territory years. After Britishers left China with those agreements, they took their own sweet time to throw out those agreements out in the garbage and, bring Hong Kong into their fold. Now they are looking at Taiwan. They play long game. So for them, the hurdle is United States. So this is something which they use to show to United States what kind of power they will be facing if they decided to come and try to interfere when China is ready to take its action. So the end result is, out of this whole fight, India did not come out strong. I'm sorry, but that's my opinion. I may be wrong. I would love to be wrong. I would love to be proved wrong on that part. But this is how I feel. Why? Because those exposures are dangerous exposures. We know that China did in about, I think about 4 or 5 years ago, I think 2019, something like that, when we lost a couple of soldiers on the border with China. And before that, our Prime Minister Modi hosted President Xi to his state, Gujarat, where he was the Chief Minister, to showcase shining Gujarat. And then Mr. Xi went back, and this is what he did. So if you are going to play the long game, which India needs to do, they actually should be not taking these 2, 3, 4, 5 people, their actions as an attack on a nation. I'm not saying that Pakistan is what Pakistan is doing is good, but at the same time, for me, what's the difference then? If they are like that, you just prove that you are also like that. There is nothing, no difference. Not at all. Because Israel, US, they actually do stuff quietly behind the doors, clandestinely. India did kill Niger, India did kill a couple of people in Pakistan, no doubt about it. They could have done the same thing, but then that 56-inch chest will not be shown, even though that is at the cost of the prestige and principles what India stood for. I was told by a very close friend of mine that India will be fine. I'm hoping that India will be fine. The reason I am saying why I'm hoping is because of what is going on right now for last couple of years, when a vast number of minority, 12-13% of them, they are painted day in day out, 24 hours a day, as villains, as the people who are out there to destroy you and your country. Why? Just because they are Muslims. Again here we need to compare between Pakistan and India. And that is something very important. Let us take a break. After the break, I will be right back. Welcome back to Mainstream with Harpreet Singh Toor again. So, Pakistan became an extremist country ruled by just one group of faith, Muslims. And look at it. The development is stalled. Foreign direct investment is not there. China is putting in money because China has its own geopolitical interest in it, no other reason. So, India is becoming just like Pakistan when it comes down to that. And even being a Sikh, I look at some of the acts of the Sikhs, no different than those extremists, whether those are in Muslim religion or Hindu religion or Christian religion, those fanatics. Why? Because, out of conversation you will always end up getting enriched by new ideas, new philosophies, new thoughts. But if you kill those thoughts, then yes, you will not be anywhere where Western countries are. One of the reasons why these Western countries are where, because they let the people do what they want to do, let them say what they wanted to say. And it brings me back down to the beginning of my today's show, where I said, there was a student who was asked a question. He was a student at Harvard University, and he did not want to give his name because of obvious reasons. We know that. He said that difference between coming to United States and going for studies at the universities in United States and going other places is, if I go to India, I will be competing the best brains in India. If I go to Germany, I will be learning and competing with the best brains from Germany. If I go to European countries, wherever I go, I will be learning and competing with them. But if I come to United States, if I go to Harvard or Columbia or Yale or Princeton, I will be working with the best brains in the world. That's the difference between letting the students coming in, letting them come in, compete, and come to these universities to do the research. America is in the forefront of developing so many new technologies. China is catching up, and China has caught up in some of them. And I think I'm almost definite that in AI, China is way ahead, and they are keeping the whole thing under wrap right now till they hit the whole full accelerator on it. And that's all they are. And so by controlling the enrollments, by threatening the universities, by threatening the attorneys, and again, just compare it with what is going on in India also. Okay? By pushing the laws to penalize the person and the people who challenge you, but at the same time, the people who attack the capital, letting them go free and telling them, that, oh, don't worry about it, I'm here, I will take care of you, I will pardon you, which he did one yesterday also, where this guy was caught red-handed accepting bribes and hiring the staff which was absent. Just on paper that was staff. Why? Because we have a president who is corrupt. Okay? In India, Adani, all of a sudden, he became a billionaire. He passed Ambani. To Ambani, it took years to reach there. Adani, within a couple of 2-3 years, especially after after the COVID, after 2019, he actually went way up. No doubt that when Hindenburg issued a report, it was challenged and nobody said anything. And in India, nobody is challenging anything at all now. And even the professor from Columbia University, I don't have the name of that professor right now, he actually went to India under Modi to work in RBI, Reserve Bank of India. He resigned and he came back. Why? Because he was not happy with certain things. I want those people to speak up. If we want India to be where we want India to be, these people need to speak, and their speeches should not be censored. They should not be threatened with a troll and delivering the pizzas to their house like it is being done here, just to give them the message that we know where you live, but actually accepting that dissent and answering their questions. That's how you progress, not by threatening. When you start threatening, people stop thinking freely. And if they think freely, they will not put it on the paper because they are not sure what would happen to their families. Everybody loves their families, you know. And when you talk about loving your motherland, caring about your motherland, you know, that care of motherland comes with some of these responsibilities, where you challenge what needs to be challenged, where you ask what needs to be asked. You know, yes, I admire certain people. Vajpayee is one of them. Of course not L.K. Advani, and of course not Prime Minister Modi either. I admire Joe Biden, not George W. Bush, but Bush Sr. Reagan's policies I did not like, because the debt mess which US is in today, it was started by Ronald Reagan. I admire Jimmy Carter, JFK, Mrs. Gandhi. I can go on and on and on with these people, even though Mahatma Gandhi was not perfect, but there are things which I admire about him. Jawaharlal Nehru, I admire certain things about him. They were the people who accepted criticism. I remember I was listening to somebody and he mentioned about Jawaharlal Nehru going to Bihar to a university get together. There was some thing which probably I should dig out and share in the next show. And the students who were protesting, they were able to get their hands on him, and they literally sort of like ripped his shirt or, manhandled him. And security forces, when, they took him inside, and the dean of the university in charge of the people who were in charge of having that get together, they asked Mr. Nehru to, that they are going to register an FIR and call the cops. Jawaharlal Nehru said, no, don't do it. They were looking for their frustrations to get out of them, and they felt that this is the way they can get it done, and that's why they did it. And he went on the stage just like that and spoke like that. Just imagine in today's time, if you can just criticize either Trump or Putin or Xi or Modi or what we have, Field Marshal now, Munir in Pakistan, if you are a Hindu, you can say anything, no action will be taken. But if you are a minority, you say anything which is not considered appropriate by anybody, immediately FIR will be lodged in India. Same thing here. People are being picked up from the street. They come in with the masks. How do I know that the person who is coming to arrest me in the mask is a person from ICE or FBI or somebody? Why? It was not there before. And privately, there are some people who are admitting that they don't like doing it either, but they are afraid. And if we want our future generations to succeed and go beyond where we are, we need to be bold. We need to then show the real 56-inch chest and say that, okay, that chest is to absorb the criticism. That chest is to listen. And that chest is to protect rightly, not wrongly. And that's what it should be, and that's how it should be. With that note, good night and good luck.